Bright morning, everyone. Hello, it's Jaya here from Epicenter Healing. Welcome back to our channel. Starting our morning video. So this is becoming a bit of a regular thing, this morning start, but it's working, so let's roll with it. Today's video is going to be about a topic that is incredibly popular. It's about boundary setting, and the way that I look at boundary setting and here at Epicenter Healing is not really about creating a distinction and difference between yourself and the other person. It's about actually creating harmony in some way, shape, or form. So we look at boundary setting as a way of creating good energy between people. And if you cannot create good energy, then creating an energy which is not a bad or harmful or angry or stern and strict energy of like, you can't speak to me and you can't do that. And that's a very strict energy and a very sort of old way of boundary setting, I would say. In this day and age and in the new age movement and with the ascension happening and everybody wanting to move to a more collaborative space, like there isn't anybody that I don't speak to that you can sense it. They just want a more harmonious life. They want more love. People want more love. And the greatest gift that you can give to yourself and to somebody else is empowerment and love. These two gifts, they're gifts. They're gifts from the heavens, a gift from the divine. And if you channel them through you, these gifts help to raise the frequency of humanity, which is important to you because you're living in this environment. I'm living in this environment. So everything makes a difference. I spoke about in my last video about compounding. So how everything builds up. That every action we do, even if it doesn't build up in anybody around us, it builds up within ourselves. So the importance of this is to be mindful of your actions, because everything you do or say to yourself and others is becoming part of your own memory system, and it's becoming part of their own memory system. So why is this important in boundary setting? Because a lot of the reasons why this whole boundary issue has turned up is because people over such a long period of time have been acting in a certain way and behaving in a way which is maybe not mindful of others, maybe unconscious, like maybe they're not even aware that they're behaving in this manner. Again, highlighting this because most people aren't actually aware. And if they are aware, then you know that there's something that's kind of gone wrong in them. If they're aware that they're behaving in a way that hurts others, but they're still doing it anyway. So you can sort of say for those people that, well, if that's happened and they know this is upsetting me, then clearly they have some healing work to do. Or they need to get out that bad relationship, or they need to stop working for that 6-figure salary and they need to start enjoying themselves or finding the partner of their dreams or something like that. So speaking about this background of people and how it relates to boundary setting is that we have to understand that every single human being that we have met has been through a whole journey before we have even met them. And this is not really relevant to age, because a 5-year-old has also had 5 years of experiences which somebody else would never understand. Only that 5-year-old in his own mind, he understands that, or she understands that. So having this understanding that people are full of all this experience that you will never understand helps to automatically create healthy boundaries. Just by having that understanding in yourself, you will be able to navigate yourself in a healthy way from certain people, situations, places, and things. This understanding and maybe even compassion. So I have developed more compassion as I've become older. But this understanding and compassion helps you in your own boundary setting, because you're able to sort of move away without the strong emotions of hate, or that girl or boy is so horrible. Like, how can anybody speak like that? And all these questions that go on, which still are affecting and infiltrating into your boundaries. is still going into you if you're thinking about it once you've created that space between another person or a place or a thing. So having this understanding that people are full of all this stuff before they meet you really helps to create these automatic boundaries. So that's something that will really help you. Another thing that can help you in boundary setting is something I've spoken about again and again, about creating as much space as possible. So not just getting away from somebody, but creating like a regular space, because in this space, it gives you time. It gives you time to think about what's happened, because you might be able to learn something from it. Often, and even in the spiritual realm, it is said that, and I had a really lovely conversation with somebody who is very accomplished spiritually. And we had a conversation for about 2.5 hours. And he was explaining to me how people don't cross each other's path by accident, and that every encounter is intentional, i.e. synchronistic events. If you haven't already done so, please check out my video on synchronistic events and synchronistic numbers. So this person that I was speaking to was explaining about crossing each other's paths for a certain reason. So when you're looking at exerting your boundaries and wanting to have these boundaries put in place for yourself, also have a moment and think, okay, what can I learn from this? And what was the purpose of this interaction? And how can I serve? Often, a lot of people that you meet who are angry or sad or something like this, you can serve them and you can give something positive after this interaction. You can give something which is light or love or something that will benefit them, rather than responding or mirroring their hate. This is a choice. You don't have to do it, because your own free will prevails. You don't have to do anything, but you can do it. It's a choice. Or you can simply just move away and think, I don't want to be there and I will not be there. My free will prevails. But there's something always going on from a higher picture. And I want to come on to another point about boundaries. So there seems to be a pattern that I've noticed between families, and this is across cultures, where they will have the one black sheep. And I'm saying that in a positive way because I'm also a black sheep. I am the black sheep of my family. And it's got nothing to do with what's wrong with me or something. This is an intentional design. The way that the decision making is done within families. Sometimes a lot of expectations get put on one family member. So this is just an example. And this is actually my own example, but I've seen it more than once now with many people. And these expectations, it makes a person either want to rebel or not conform or actually meet the expectations. And in doing one of these three things, they become the black sheep. So in doing everything that they want to make their family happy, they become a black sheep. So it's just a design. It's an evolutionary design, actually. And the purpose of it is to evolve, become a better human being, a conscious human being, a different human being, because a tribal mindset will only get any lineage or ancestral lineage so far. So it's designed for a very important reason. You might have heard chosen one on the internet, and they're also, and even in our religious scriptures and in Christianity, when they talk about the chosen ones and things like that, you know, they talk about when Jesus came and God's son and these things. It's like that special person. But it's an evolutionary thing to be a black sheep, because if everybody in the lineage or in that family is the same, they're not going to be able to get very far in their ancestry, because you need variety and diversity as part of science. So how does this relate to boundary setting? Because often the black sheep gets slated for being different, and there's arguments, and it's like, how do you create those boundaries? You have to have a belief and a faith that in yourself and in your intuition, if you feel something is right and you have enough strength to do something about it, then you have managed to create a boundary, because you have enough strength to say, I was right or I was wrong, and this is what I'm going to do now, and that's that. And you're able to execute a boundary by making a nice solid decision, because the understanding you've got helps to move you forward. And also, people often struggle with boundaries with the one different person in the family, or the chosen one, or the black sheep, whatever you want to call it. It doesn't really matter. But the boundary problem happens often between this one person and the rest of the family. And again, you just stick to your guns. If you know and feel in your center, in your heart, in your mind, that this is right, then you stick to it. But you can also stick to your guns in a very positive manner. I think that's a British saying, stick to your guns. What it means is, you stick to your own opinion because you feel it's really strong. So if you do feel like that, then that in itself is a boundary, by just holding your center and by knowing in yourself, I am right or I am wrong, and sticking to it. If you're flaky and you're in and out, your boundaries get crossed. Because if you're not sure yourself, then other people recognize that and they start crossing your boundary in, out, in, out, in, out. So this self-assurance, and I'm not talking about the ego, and please check out my video, which is the ego will ruin your life, on my YouTube channel. If we're not sure of ourselves in a very godly way, in a humanitarian way, in an integrity way of what's right or wrong, then people will come in, cross our boundaries, leave, and then somebody else we'll be able to get rid of them, say, and then somebody else will come in and cross the boundaries.